SimTheWorld here. We are back with Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. Hey, we've got a really big episode. We've got 3 cars in the garage. Took off a little bit more than I might be able to chew, but I think each job are kind of small. I didn't do one big order. I think we're sticking with one little order each time. So we're starting off with the Lotus. Here we have the Lotus Spirit. We saw this last episode. Now we get to work on some of the engine. We've got to replace the filters, and we got to look for a knocking noise coming from the suspension. So we do have a little bit of searching to do. Let's go ahead and take care of the filters. Now this we can come in through the engine bay. Oh, yeah, we're on the lift. Let's go through the engine. You got to get the, that's the oil filter. We got to go from underneath. We'll take care of that when we're down there. And we need the air filters, so let's get the cover off. We got the round drafts off on the side here. And we'll pop those new ones right back on. It's quick, it's easy. I want to dive more into this engine, of course. This will be hopefully featured in an episode coming soon. But for now, we're just going to keep things simple. I also want to, let's go ahead and put the engine cover on. I wish the engine cover was actually part of the engine itself and not a body component. I don't think that's the end of the world, but it's something I would want to see. So we need to find where that knocking noise could be coming from. So I've already found one of the wheel hub bearings back here needs to be replaced. But we still have to find, and I think it's worth going around and examining some of these parts. Try to track this down. Don't want to be searching forever. This is one of the first things I'll do when I start looking for a part. Coming through and examining what I need, you know, everything I can. And from this point, I don't think there's anything left to examine. Interesting. I wonder, let's jump back to the right corner here. I'm going to have to do some searching because that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's only one other part that is in rough condition. Let me see if it's this. Check our inventory, of course. Go to groups, and we can take a look here. We don't want to sell it, but that might be, I think the top of it's bad. Wow. I would not have guessed that. That was kind of hard to tell, because a lot of those parts aren't in the greatest of shape. You know, while we wait for that, we can go and pick up the new cap. I'm not even replacing the rest of the parts. We're just replacing what they're asking us to. There's not many suspension components on this Lotus, so there's not really a lot to search through. Most of the model is going to be in the engine itself. That's where all the work's at. Though for you guys, yeah, this is a quick and easy way. At this condition, you can't really tell a rusted part from, you know, a broken part, but I did kind of compare the caps here. That was what told me to go check that. Let me go ahead and get this oil filter replaced, and I think that should wrap up this job. Let's take a look here. And we're good to go. Only $446. We're kind of used to bigger jobs. Extra $100. I'll take it. It's not going to be a big payday this episode, but they really never... I don't think we can really depend on that consistently. I feel like these small orders are going to be what's more realistic, and that's what I really hope to see in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. You know, these big engine jobs of replacing almost everything in the engine makes sense, but doesn't feel realistic. But like this, we got to replace the gearbox, we got to replace the flywheel and clutch plate and clutch pressure plate. But everything else in the car is fine. Now, if I were a customer and took it to the shop and they said that I needed to replace half of the suspension components and replace, 3 of my pistons, I would tell I'd tow the car away and take it to the trash heap. It's not worth the money to go in and replace everything. So this is where little jobs like these, where it's, maybe you just need to replace the filters, you got to do an oil change. Maybe a tie rod has snapped. Broken parts would be huge to see in the game, like actual, if the inner tie rod had snapped, you could see it dangling there. That'd be quick to identify. I'd be all about that. Let's see, this takes care of this job too, and we make 10 grand. If you're trying to level up, of course, if you're starting over or you just purchased the game and want to get to the max level, or at level 30 when you can actually open up the full garage, start taking those transmission jobs, start taking those muffler jobs, and that will quickly get you to the point where you can go through and get to that high level. So our last order for the day is actually a body repair job. I don't think we've done any of these quite yet. This is the Mazda RX3. So we got to repair some of the body components. I am replacing everything. They want us to spray paint it factory color. This is going to tell me if factory color has been changed to always white. I feel like some of the colors have I feel like in the past when you spray paint the factory color, they used to be different colors, though. If you watched a lot of our last series in the story orders, most of those ended up being white. So I'm going to use the welder because I do want to clean this up. Body I want to make look nice. This is something where they're introducing a lot of mini games in the Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. The welder should absolutely be a mini game. I'm sure a lot of you would complain about that. You don't want any more of those tedious little things to slow you down. But I think if they can make the mini games related to what you're doing, so not just clicking and, timing when you click, like we saw in the demo, but maybe for the welder, maybe there's different rust spots that you run the welder over. Not that that's realistic, but it at least is, or maybe you have to follow a line and weld 2 pieces together. I don't know. Maybe you guys have an idea on that and want to let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Little mini game suggestions that could relate to the actual building of these cars. But I think that is important to see. Let me see. I think that's all the body parts back on. Just need to spray paint it. Same thing with this paint shop. It'd be really cool if there's actually, and I know if you watched our series playing Diesel Brothers Truck Building Simulator, you're actually able to set up the different parts and you could use a spray gun and spray them down. Their system wasn't always perfect. Sometimes it got tedious and hard to, choose, get the 100% paint coverage. But I think that would be at least a little more interesting than, just clicking a button here. So yeah, we're going to set it to factory green. It's painted, and that's done. A full paint button, maybe painting the whole car would be nice if you had the button, but then maybe a little part stand with a sprayer if you wanted to do something individually. I'm throwing out ideas. I'm hoping that some of these get picked up at the very least. but I think this car should be done and ready for the customer. Let's go take a look. And that is fantastic. The interior is at 13%. You know what? Just for you, I'll spend the extra $100. We'll use up some of our cleaner. And we'll get this boosted up to 100% too. Do a little extra work, pass it along. And now it's ready to be returned to the customer. Kind of like how some of the dealerships will wash your car before they bring it out to you. Maybe that's what we're going to see in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. There is a car wash behind the garage after all. But with that, the customer is happy. We got another car out of the shop. We flew through these orders, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a little different, not a giant engine repair job, but a little way to feature 3 cars and doing all different tasks. So with that, thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates of future games being played, as well as follow on Twitch, as I'll occasionally stream live. Thanks, and I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.